Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce our group. We are from group 8, which consists of Muhammad Rafli with student number 2020-5022, Yasmin Syahrina with student number 2020-5023, and me, Rizka Annisa, with student number 2020-5024. Okay, we will present about productivity. What will be discussed? First, what is productivity? Second, productivity in shape. Third, productivity in meaning. Fourth, semantic blocking. Fifth, productivity in compounding. And last, measuring productivity. Okay, let me introduce myself first. My name is Rizka Annisa with student number 2020-5024, and I will explain the material about definition of productivity and productivity in shape, formal generality, and regularity. Okay, let's start from definition of productivity. What is productivity? Productivity is a rule-governed process, and the productivity of a morphological process is its potential for repetitive and creative morphological cleaning, according to Bauer, 2001. Okay, the next material about productivity in shape, formal generality, and regularity. Specificness is formally general, attached to adjectives to create abstract nouns in common use. For example, gray plus ness becomes grayness, and rich plus ness becomes richness. Specificness is formally general in the sense that when attached to mass adjectives, it yields an abstract noun which is either in common use, for example, grayness, richness, and etc., or would not need to be listed as a lexical item because its existence is predictable given the existence of the adjective. The suffixness is also formally regular, attached to adjectives, and the result sounds like a possible noun even though it may not be one that is conventionally used any structure in this case. For example, sensitive plus ness becomes sensitiveness, pure plus ness becomes pureness, long plus ness becomes longness. The suffixness is also formally regular in the sense that one can specify what sort of structure an adjective must have in order to be a possible base for it, namely any structure whatever. That is, whatever adjective ness is attached to the result sounds like a possible noun, even though it might not be one that is conventionally used, for example, sensitiveness, pureness, and longness. If native English speaker hear a non-English speaker use the word longness instead of length, they will almost certainly be able to understand what the speaker means, even if longness is not a word that they themselves would use. Suffix it and th are much less general. The result of attaching either of these is something that is not only not an actual noun but also not a possible noun. For example, great, gray plus th, richity, rich plus it. Sound unconventional and positively in English. And next, compare with suffixness. For example, longness, grayness, and richness. Still understandable by a native speaker. By contrast, both it and th are much less general with most adjectives. The result of attaching either of these is something that is not only not an actual noun but also not a possible noun. For example, great and richity sound not merely unconventional but positively in English. By contrast with longness, they are not words that we would understand without effort in the unlikely event of our hearing them used. But this doesn't mean that both these suffixes are equally irregular. Quite regular in specific adjectives. Suffix it, adjectives with suffixes. For example, selective becomes selectivity, visible becomes visibility, and liquid becomes liquidity. In fact, it is formally quite regular in the sense that possible bases for it are easy to specify. adjectives in I've, able, al, ar, ic, it, and ous. Formally irregular in few specific nouns. For example, dense becomes density, men's becomes mensity, pure becomes purity, and rare becomes rarity. Formally irregular are the relatively few nouns in it form from adjectives outside this range, for example, dense, immense, pure, and rare. Compare dense with tense. They look alike, but they form their abstract nouns, density and tension, in different ways. And last, suffix with th, formally quite regular in monosyllabic adjectives. For example, deep becomes deep, white become white, broad become breadth, long become length, and strong become strength. By contrast, th is formally quite regular in that the adjective that choose it share no common structural characteristic beyond the fact that they are monosyllabic. For example, deep, wide, broad, long, strong, a characteristic that they share with hundreds of other adjectives, however. From this explanation, it can be concluded that the it suffix is still a form of productivity because it is still used to make new words, while the th suffix is not a productivity form because the th suffix is rarely or never inserted to make new words. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. The next material will be explained by Yasmin Syahrina.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Yasmin Syahrina with student ID number 2020-5023. Here I will explain the material about semantic regularity. A derivational process is semantically regular if the contribution that it makes to the meaning of the lexemes produced by it is uniform and consistent. An example is adverb forming li. This is not only formally regular, but also semantically regular, in that it almost always contributes the meaning by or to the degree. We can see at the example frequently and roughly. These two words give a meaning degree and by. But semantic and formal regularity can also diverge. This is also called semantic irregularity. Let's take a look at the example directly. Et nouns are formally regular when derived from adjectives with a range of suffixes such as iv, al, and r. And the nouns selectivity, locality, partiality, and polarity all exist. But none of these nouns means exactly what one might expect on the basis of the meaning of the base adjective. So that's why suffix et is also called semantic irregularity. The adjective local can mean confined to small areas, but locality means never confinement to small areas, but always neighborhood. And the noun polarity is talking about electric current, but isn't talking about the climate in Antarctica. As you can see, locality and polarity don't have the same meaning as the base adjective. Next material is semantic blocking. So, semantic blocking is the phenomenon whereby the existence of a word, whether it's simple or derived, with a particular meaning inhibits the morphological derivation, even by formally regular means of another word with precisely that meaning. In short, semantic blocking occurs when a possible form cannot surface because it is blocked by another form of a word which is more appropriate. Let's take a look at the example. The suffix "os" yields a formally regular base for the suffixation of et, so we might expect the corresponding noun for curious and glory are curiosity and gloriosity. In fact, curiosity is in regular use, but gloriosity is not. Curiosity is a possible noun for adjective curious, because there is no other noun that can block the derivation, while gloriosity is blocked semantically by the noun glory, which is more appropriate. Another example is suffixness in adjectives. Even if suffixness is formally regular and sounds like a possible noun, still it is not a regular use. As you can see, highness is blocked by noun hey and longness is blocked by noun lang.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you Yasmin Syahrina for the great explanation. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Rafli with student ID number 2020, 2050 and 22. In this opportunity, I would like to explain to you about productivity in compounding and neologism. Productivity in compounding means that compounding have two meanings that use in particular context. For example, globetrotter means a person who like go around the world, not the person who study about globe. Okay, let's start. Let's focus with compound noun is double N or noun plus noun type. The first type is primary compound. Primary compound is the right-hand noun that is not derived from a verb and whose interpretation is therefore from not precisely predictable on purely linguistic basis. The example of primary compound is hairnet and mosquito net. Hairnet and mosquito net is irregular semantically. Okay, the second type of compounding is secondary compound. The first element is interpreted as the object of the verb contained within the second. Secondary compounds are certainly right-head that is derived from a verb. The example of secondary compound is hair restorer, slum clearance, and crime prevention. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hair restorer, slum clearance, and crime prevention is regular semantically because the natural interpretation is clear. For example, to interpret crime prevention as meaning not prevention of crime, but use of crime for preventive purposes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next slide we will discuss about measuring productivity. To measure the degrees of productivity in morphological pattern, we have to calculate the number of different words from certain types of words. Before that, we should know the frequency of those words, so that we can know the frequency of the word or how often it is used by corpora or corpus. It is a vast collection of data which contains spoken and written text used by students studying grammar, syntax, semantic, or otherwise, and could also be used to make a dictionary. For example, British National Corpus or BNC. To be clear, we need to differentiate between types and tokens. Type is a whole bunch of different words, while the token is the total number of words in the corpus. For example, if there are 100 chords fit with the able, the added frequency is 100, but the token-based frequency would be higher because it is certainly used more than once in the spoken or written text in the corpus. To know the level of productivity, we must know the type frequency and the frequency of the tokens, as well as some of the hypack from the type. Hypaklexomena is the new word that only happens once in the corpus. Example of absorption and accurable. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to learn the level of productivity of suffix it and ness, here we use English corpus to build the frequency of the suffix tricle. This corpus contains 18 million forms of the English word. The above table indicate that the number of diff it token is higher than the number of diff ness. However, the number of type with the higher ness, suffix ness, is therefore more productive than it. Suffix ness, for example, can be used with all kinds of terms, whereas suffix it doesn't. With example, there is an oddity but there's no rarity. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, neologism is a new word or brand new. Neologism can be productive within a given time and can also be unproductive in time beyond. For example, a Nafik can create much neologism in the 18th century but not in the 20th century. Some hypack will associate with number of neologism, but hypack also doesn't mean neologism. For determining the hypack within a given period, we can use the Oxford English Dictionary. It has 500,000 entries and refers to complete information on all English word and vocabulary development. So it was possible to obtain a list of neologism for the given time period. I think that's all of my material. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.